I don't know any. This is speculation right here. But what if you have Nestor open, a guy who's used to starting? Maybe take down Otani, Mookie, Freeman.
Jorge Castillo joining us for what I call the Jorge Castillo Bowl because he used to cover the Dodgers. Now he's covering New York ball, but we've got the Yankees and the Dodgers. So this really is your Super Bowl, Jorge. Great to have you on. And can you pick a better matchup for you to have just all of the tidbits and info that you've gathered up over these years?
Yeah, I know it's crazy. You're the third person who's mentioned the Jorge Castillo Super Bowl or World Series or something, but I'm probably the 2000th most important person involved in 7 games. So, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it, man. It's what everybody wanted, right? Yankees, Dodgers. I just happen to want it probably a little bit more.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So, all right. So, well, let's start with the team that you're covering more nowadays, right? In the New York Yankees. Are you surprised to see them here based off seeing them throughout the season? Because, I mean, you go through the whole year with a team. And I think actually sometimes when I talk to beat writers and they tell me about the pros and cons, they're almost like too deep into it. When you take a step out, you're like, yeah, every team has flaws and pimples and all that. And the Yankees looked like they were in pretty good shape for most of the year.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think when you're around a team so much, you get caught up in the flaws of the team. And it's funny because, in this role that I have, I kind of bounce around a little bit. And, you hear like the Orioles beat crew come in and they're saying how their team is terrible. And you hear the Dodgers come in, whatever. Any team comes in, you hear how, the warts. Every team has their warts. I always thought with the Yankees, they had their warts like everybody else. There have been times where they've looked sloppy, on the base pass defensively, but they have talent. And talent in October, man, that matters a lot. Juan Soto in October, Giancarlo Stanton in October. You got Gerrit Cole, who's the best starting pitcher left in the world in the postseason, obviously, and they just have great talent. And I think talent wins out a lot of times. We've seen a lot over the years. Wild card teams kind of sneak up and go to the World Series, but I always thought all along that the Yankees could get there if they got into the dance, and it really just avoided that 3 game series. I think the wild card series kind of makes things a little crazy, but they always had the talent.
My
So
question.
what?
Oh, go ahead, Kratzy. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to go on what you said. Like they always had the talent, but watching them from afar before, you were watching the Dodgers a lot. So when you see a team, you see their warts. So that's why all those teams come in, and you hear from the Orioles beat writers and all those guys. What did you think of the Yankees before you got to follow them for an entire season?
I thought, especially when Juan Soto came over, last year from a distance, right? They went to Los Angeles. I was there, and Judge gets hurt in LA, which is another sort of subplot to this World Series, one of like 30. He gets hurt out there, and then they were really good up to that point, and then Judge gets hurt, and you have to remember when Judge has been on the field the last 3 years, he's been the best hitter in the world, right? He wasn't on the field for a lot of last year, and the team just fell apart after that. I always think the Yankees should be in it, and they have been in it except for last year. Right? 2 years ago, they go to the ALCS as well, so they're always in it, and I think they should always be in it. And I think once they traded for Juan Soto, that team, it's sort of the perfect complement for Aaron Judge. You envision a world in which those two guys are going, it's like back to back, just making pitchers, making their jobs difficult, and it went exactly like the Yankees envisioned it. I thought Juan Soto was obviously a huge acquisition, a huge risk they took, and just given the money that they have, the star power that they have, I always thought they were a team that to contend with. And I just think coming from the Dodgers side of things, that doesn't always mean a lot, in October in these tournaments. The Dodgers lost to the Padres, they lost to the Diamondbacks, they lost to the Nationals in 19. Obviously in 6 games to the Braves in 21. Starting pitching matters, and I think that's something that's helped the Yankees a lot here is they're healthy when it comes to starting pitching. Gerrit Cole, Rodon, Schmidt, Hill. They might get Cortes back here for the World Series out of the bullpen. That to me has been a big advantage for them. But hey, it's the Yankees, man. They should be here. It's been 15 years. It's crazy. It's been 15 years, but they should be here. And this year's team, deserves it.
You kind of led into my next question about Nestor Cortes. You brought up a bullpen piece. So I don't know. I like him in the bullpen too as well. I don't care where he goes if you want the truth. I think he can come in and start if needed, and I think he can do bullpen too as well. So who comes off if he's that guy in the bullpen now?
I think, Aaron Boone was asked this question earlier. There's a chance to go to 13 pitchers. They were at 12 for the ALCS. If that's the case, then a position player comes off, probably, likely. If not, then if they go with 12, then you got to think they added Mark Leiter Jr. To the roster to replace Ian Hamilton. You got Marcus Stroman on there right now. Well, he was on the ALCS roster, and he didn't pitch. Tim Mays is another lefty, but I think you need lefties with Ohtani and Freeman. I know Freeman's banged up. You still got Ohtani, Freeman, Muncy to deal with. The more lefties, the better. If they go position player off, you got to think it's Dominguez or Grisham. They both didn't play much there in the ALCS. But I see Cortes as a bullpen piece just because his live BPs have been around 20 pitches, 25 pitches. Today I was counting them actually. It's probably 20, 25 pitches. So he's a guy that's coming out of the bullpen, and I think it's a great weapon to have. Even if he can give you like an inning plus, he's a guy who's not scared. He's proven he can do that out of the bullpen, and it's just another quality arm to have against those lefties.
I know with the Dodgers, there are really tough righties. There are really tough left-handed hitters, of course. So I'll keep going on what you were talking about with Ohtani and Freeman specifically. So I'm looking at Rodon, Meza, like you mentioned, Hill for sure, Nestor, and then even Tommy Kahnle with the changeup that he brings to the table. Do you feel like the Yankees are as well suited as any team in baseball to be able to handle Ohtani and Freeman when they need big outs from lefties or guys that can really handle left-handed hitters?
Yeah, I think they're as good as any team can be. Ohtani's Ohtani, and Freddie's a Hall of Famer, even though with a bum ankle, man, he's still hitting out there when he's on the field. And Muncy had that record of getting on base, I think it was, right, postseason, at bats, playing appearances. I think between those guys, you add Nestor to the mix, and they're about as well equipped as you can be. Someone reached out to me yesterday asking me about Nestor possibly starting, and then it got me thinking, like, I don't know any. This is speculation right here. But what if you have Nestor open, a guy who's used to starting? Maybe take down Ohtani, Mookie, Freeman. And if Muncy's hitting fourth, or if it's tail, then maybe you go to a righty. I just thought this is speculation, nothing reporting here. But I just thought about that, something like that, to take down Ohtani and Freeman in their first plate appearances. But Nestor just gives them another weapon. You got Tim Hill pitching all 5 ALCS games. Mays has looked pretty good. And you mentioned Kahnle. I think he's thrown like 45 straight changeups. I mean, the guy's doing his thing with that. So he's another guy who can get lefties out.
Listen, we got a problem. Half our viewers are not even subscribed. Hit the subscribe button. Do it.
We get it. Mornings are nuts. No time for breakfast, but you need to get your day started right.
What if a delicious, nutritious meal could be ready in seconds? Support for Foul Territory is brought to you by Huel, the world's #1 complete nutrition brand. With over 400 million meals sold worldwide, Huel is trusted by millions of people looking to fuel their days with convenient, complete nutrition. Try it for yourself with this exclusive FT offer. 15% off with the code FOUL at Huel.com.
We're all about saving time, but we get hangry, like a lot. I recently fell in love with the Huel Ultimate Super Greens powder, which is a perfect blend of 91 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients. I also love their complete nutrition bars, and those hot and savory pouches are fire too.
FT fam, give it a shot. Get 15% off with the code FOUL at HUEL.com. Unlock a healthier, easier way to eat with Huel. Nutritionally complete meals in minutes so you can focus on what really matters.
Let's say Ohtani and Judge were in the same league this year. Who wins the MVP this year? Because the year that Judgy had when he won it over Ohtani when they were in the same league was historic. Who wins the MVP this year if they're both in the same league?
I take Judge because Judge is playing center field. And I know Judge is, the numbers say he's below average and whatever, but he still has to be out there running around and doing it. The wear and tear on the body, I think that matters. I know Ohtani did the 50-50, amazing year. I'm not trying to take away anything from Ohtani, but I think playing in the field matters. Is the reason why Ohtani is going to be the first DH to win it. I think that's just the grind, the mental sort of fortitude you need to do both sides every single day. And it's not like Judge was like taking days off either. The guy was out there. He took his DH days once in a while, but He's a dude. He's like 6'7", 280, 300, whatever he is, playing center field. I think that matters. And as great as a year of Ohtani, he had, I'd probably even take Bobby Witt over Ohtani if it came down to it. I just think playing shortstop and all that matters too.
That's a good call. Yeah, we forget Bobby Witt's season. Many other years would be an MVP season if you don't have Judge there. There's no doubt. And also what he did at the shortstop position, just elite defense over there too. I want to ask you about Gerrit Cole. So he's starting game one. We know that for the Yanks. He hasn't looked great. I mean, he had the one great start. What is it? And two not very Gerrit Cole-ish starts in the postseason. Not necessarily seeing the swing and miss from him. So I'm curious what you're observing, what he's saying. I mean, I think many have mentioned how he's coming off the elbow issue and he's probably not, a complete version of himself right now. So I'm curious what we should expect for this World Series. And after that, if you want to also include what you think is going to happen in the offseason, because he does have that little option thing hanging around where the Yankees would have to pick it up, or he could be a free agent, but I don't know if he would based on what's going on with the elbow this year.
Yeah, I think we need to sort of remember how maybe like 6, 7, 8 months ago, whenever it was in March, whenever March was, how we probably didn't think that Gerrit Cole would ever be in this position of pitching in Game 1 of the World Series. Once you hear elbow and shut down in mid-March, and you think the worst, right? We've seen it so many times with pitchers. This is a guy who had never gotten, who hadn't been hurt for a long time. So the fact he's here pitching Game 1, I think, as baseball fans here, people that cover the game, I think it's awesome that we get to see Gerrit Cole in a Game 1 of the World Series. As for what he's done, Gerrit Cole, he had his really good outings. He got roughed up a bit during the regular season against the Red Sox or the Devers game. We intentionally walked Devers and a couple times against the Mets, but looked really good otherwise. He had that really good outing to clinch the ALDS. I think he's just Gerrit Cole. I think it's, for the most part, it's the Gerrit Cole we've seen. He busted out a turbo sinker the other day. It was like 97, 98 miles an hour. That's a pitch I wonder if we're going to see a lot of on Friday. I think it's the Gerrit Cole. Sometimes, we're seeing a lot of starting pitchers, good ones, great ones, have a tough time in the postseason. He had his one great start. I know he went like 4 and something the other in his other ones. But I think Gerrit Cole he's the best starting pitcher in this World Series, in my opinion. And I think he gives the Yankees a big advantage. I think their starting rotation in general gives the Yankees a big advantage in this World Series. So if he can give them 5, 6, 7, really good innings, great innings, that puts him in a good spot. And I think he could. I know we talk about the injury, but he's looked really good for a lot of the season. As for the offseason, I can't imagine Gerrit Cole's not going to be a Yankee for a long time. That's my stance on that. He loves being a Yankee. The Yankees love him. I know he had the injury thing. I know he's getting a little older, but he looked really good when he got really going during the regular season after starting the year in June and ramping up. He's still, to me, one of the best pitchers in baseball, and I think next year, once this injury thing gets behind him and another full offseason, he'll be back to being Gerrit Cole.
Is there a fear, though? Is there a fear because Gerrit Cole doesn't have success when teams don't go out of the zone? And the Dodgers didn't go out of the zone against the Mets, and that's why they did what they did. Do you see, because you've seen every one of Gerrit Cole's starts this year, do you see him being able to compete in the zone, or is he going to need to nibble, and that's where his issue is going to be because he doesn't have that elite get on it, and it's 98 and somebody fouls it off, or they hit a fly ball where before last year in his Cy Young year, that was a swing and a miss.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the Dodgers are pretty much, in a lot of ways, the offense is what the Yankees do, right? They grind you away. There's a reason why these two teams are in the World Series. They make pitchers' lives a lot more difficult, right? They make you go to get to their bullpen. And you're right, maybe Gerrit Cole is more of a he can't put you away, and he's had those issues. He had a couple starts this year, a few starts this year, where the swing and miss just wasn't there, the strikeout numbers weren't there. I can think of a couple times that happened. But I'm going back to this turbo sinker that he busted out the other day. I wonder how he could use that to his advantage. 98 runs like crazy. Maybe he busts that out a little bit and for some swing and miss. He's a guy who as you guys know, he's very cerebral. He's very, he has a bunch of pitches to choose from. He's probably been game plan. He'll be game planning this down to the inch, down to every pitch. But the Dodgers are the Dodgers. They have the best line, the deepest lineup outside the Yankees. Maybe these are the two deepest lineups in baseball. So it's going to be a challenge for any pitcher out there. I put my money on Gerrit Cole giving you 5-6 good innings, and that in this postseason is a huge deal. I don't know. We've all been watching this postseason. If you go, you get clapped out, applauded off the field if you go 4. So I think going 5 or 6, it would be huge, and I think Cole can do that. Maybe he's not going to be wipeout stuff or a bunch of swing and misses, but he's the kind of pitcher I think who can navigate this lineup or do it better than most.
Well, Jorge, thanks for joining us, man. Everyone check out Jorge's coverage, of course, all over ESPN's website, ESPN New York Baseball Reporter. You can follow him at Jorge Castillo to see when he posts everything and what he's got going on. But busy week for you coming up. Thanks for stopping by. Good to see you, man.
Hey, no problem, guys. Thank you guys for having me.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.